Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the Savvy Solopreneur Symposium. Great to have you here. If you have not already introduced yourself in the chat, please take a moment to do so. We have Charleston, South Carolina in the house. Woo, woo. Okay, great for Charleston. Okay, wonderful. Let me grab this chat. Let's see this chat, if I can close it right. Okay, so we are super excited. I love it that you are before time and on time. I love it. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Today, we're going to be talking about the value of self-care for the savvy solopreneur. And we're going to talk about intentional travel with purpose, exploring the world with faith, with local culture, and yourself. And I will be sharing on how you can thrive at the top as the CEO and master the art of self-care. So again, welcome. This theme is the value of self-care for you as the savvy solopreneur. Yes. And again, I love to always call you magnificent because you are magnificent. God has created you, his magnificent creation. And he's already designed you to succeed and to prosper in that which he's placed into your hands. So welcome into the space and welcome into this growth community. I say we are a community of like-minded women of faith in business. This is the agenda. We are going to, we had our welcome, we had our introductions in the chat, and now we're going to go into the housekeeping and rules of engagement. Following that, we'll have our mission. What's the mission behind Savvy Solopreneur Symposium? And then we'll introduce to you Priscilla Holmes of Cilla Travel. And we'll have our key takeaways, thriving at the top with me, and key takeaways from that, as well as your Q&A and any final thoughts and adjournment.
Deborah Johnson joined the meeting.
All right, Priscilla Johnson has joined the meeting. Welcome to the meeting. All right, and if you haven't already, take a moment to tell us who you are, what you do, and what your intentions are for this evening. Okay, great. So our mission, we're talking about our mission here. Our mission in Savvy Solopreneur Symposium is to empower high-achieving women of faith, women entrepreneurs, solo business owners on their remarkable journey to building and scaling their businesses from the inside out. This is about you building your life, the inside out part, spirit, soul, body, every area, 360 holistic approach to you building your life and your business. So without further ado, I'm going to relinquish the stage. But before I do that, I want to share a bit about our speaker here this evening. I am thrilled to call her a sister friend, a soul sister, a business bestie. She has such a wealth of knowledge and information, and she has a passion for what she does for her clients. This evening, I'm joined by the adventure-loving, travel enthusiastic, extraordinary Priscilla Holmes she's a CEO and travel advisor of Cilla Travel. She's committed to transforming the travel dreams of empty nesters into cherished memories. With a unique focus on the second act of your life, she crafts personalized vacations that will explore local cultures and hidden gems. Her approach ensures that each and every journey goes beyond the ordinary, creating unforgettable experiences. An information systems graduate, MBA holder from New York Institute of Technology, and a U.S. Army veteran. Thank you for your service. Priscilla blends her education and her discipline and adds depth to her role as a travel advisor. She's not just planning trips, she's helping clients live their lives through travel. And now at this time, I am going to yield, make you host, and you have the stage.
Hello, ladies, savvy solos. This is Priscilla with Cilla Travel, helping you live the dream through travel. So I'm happy to be here at the invitation of Sabrina Taylor. She is also a fellow Christian businesswoman. We also attend the same church. And I think that it's just important for us as women to get together and talk about things, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be traveling or, going from one phase of life to the next. So I help you live the dream through travel. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my slides. Hang on, because we're using Zoom, and sometimes Zoom has these. Zoom actually, let's see, tricks us. So can you see my slides? All right, there we go. So I'm going to stop for a second. Can everybody see my slides? Because Zoom changed something and it changed.
Yes, I can see your slide.
Okay, all right. So my topic today is intentional travel with purpose, exploring the world with your faith, local culture, and yourself. And I'm happy to see each and every person who decided to join us this evening. I do see fellow travel entrepreneur out there. I want to shout out to Carolyn, and I see one of my clients, Joanne, shout out. Thanks for joining me. And I'm just going to go on and start my presentation. So exactly, what is intentional travel? So most of us, at least for the most part of our lives, when we were growing up, we were kids, we went on travel with our parents, relatives, things like that. Then we grew up, had our own families, and our vacations, they sort of centered around our kids, right? But then as we mature and time goes on, and we find ourselves in a different stage, whether that be a transition from having young children to older children, then to adult children, to empty nesters. Our perspective changes, as well as our position in whether we're in our careers or whether we're business owners. So at some point we may progress past the earning phase, or when you're like being a hard charger, just trying to make as much money as you can and trying to make your mark in whatever endeavor that you're doing. And then you get to this position where you can sort of take a breath after the kids grow up. So that's generally how most people think about it. They look at their lives and count it by the age of their kids. So then when their kids grow up, it's like, oh, I can breathe now. So the method of travel might change, or how you think of travel. My husband and I, we have a blended family. So we have 6 children between the two of us, and they're all adults now. The youngest is 25. She still lives with us. But that was a challenge, trying to travel, because we knew that vacations are very important. It was a challenge trying to travel with all of them. So we didn't travel very far. So I'm in the Charleston, South Carolina area for the most part. We had a timeshare and we went to Myrtle Beach or Orlando, something like that, and had a condo because, we had all these kids. So now everybody's grown. So now it's like, okay, what do I really want to do? Where do I really want to go on these trips? Because, now I'm remembering I had dreams when I was younger, before life hit me when I was a girl. I had dreams of adventure, even being in the excuse me, even being in the military. That travel was different because it was for work. And then even in my career, traveling for work was just that, for work. But now I'm in a position where I am retiring from my job and I'm going full steam ahead in my business, which is a travel agency. I started it about 5 years ago. So now my perspective on travel is different. The pandemic changed a lot because I feel like I got robbed of 3 years So I'm like, I need to make the most out of my travel. So who else can identify with that? So just throw up a emoji if you can identify with feeling like the pandemic sort of robbed you of your freedom and you feel like you're missing out. So now that we can move around now, you want to think about, or I would advise you to think about, what do I really want to do when I travel? Do I really want the cookie cutter trips? Do I really want to lay out at the beach all the time? I've been doing that for like the past 15, 20 years. Maybe I want to do something different. So intentional travel means exactly that, traveling with a purpose. So it starts with you becoming aware of and being honest with your needs and your wants revolving around travel. And those things, they vary greatly than those of your friends, because everyone's a different stage of life, even your colleagues and even yourself. Because, like, as I talked about our earlier, younger selves, the different phases, our travel goals were different. Now, entering a different phase of life, well, now I think I have time and the inclination to do a little bit more, to dig a little bit deeper. So intentional travel is you want to think about why you're traveling, why you want to visit a certain city or a certain place, or have a particular experience, or even a particular country. So these are things that you want to think about, and they give depth to your travels because you're creating memories. These memories will be with you forever. So these are experiences that you can have that maybe you've always dreamed of having. So next is setting the intentions for your travel, right? So what's important, right? Purpose is very important when we're thinking about these things. So what is the purpose of me traveling? So that people travel for all different kinds of reasons, right? Because I already mentioned some people travel when they're in their younger years because they want to, I did too, because I wanted to party. Um, Sometimes you travel because you just want to go hang out at the beach. Sometimes you travel, you're in college, you want to go to spring break. That's a different kind of travel. When you're raising your family, you want to travel because you want to take all your kids with you and everybody needs to get a break. Sometimes you want to travel, with your spouse or your significant other, whether it's for a honeymoon or just a break, sort of a romantic vacation. So you want to think about all these things. So now in this phase, what is my reason for traveling? So maybe we've done all those things. Now, what else is there? So you want to think about different things. Think of travel as a way of having an experience and expressing yourself. So there are other reasons people might want to travel, such as maybe they want to explore their heritage. And in the Black community right now, African heritage travel is a big thing because now Africa is accessible to us. So those of us diasporans, those are the people of the African diaspora, the descendants, we want to go and reconnect because that link has been broken. We want to learn more about where we came from. Or maybe you were a history buff like me, and I used to read all about kings and queens and castles and knights and all of that stuff. So maybe you want to go visit Europe, so you could see some of these castles, maybe spend the night in a castle. I think that's awesome. Or maybe you want to go visit Stonehenge, where you can see these monolithic rocks and just imagine who put those rocks there, these huge monolithic rocks. They put these things there before there were any modern civilizations, how they get there, how they move them, how they cut them. They didn't have power tools. So sometimes you may want to travel because you want to travel revolving around a particular sport or activity. So many people like to take golf vacations. So especially river cruising is another way of doing that. When we're talking about things like golf vacations, there are also wellness trips where people need to unwind. They want to just relax, maybe, get a break from the grind and they want to get away and they're really conscious about their health. So these are things that you should think about setting your intentions when you're traveling, because that'll make for a more immersive experience rather than just a plain old trip. So there's also a perspective of faith exploration through travel. So many people, travel for, if you're in a Christian, in the Christian community, we think about, okay, where did Jesus walk? Or where we would like to visit those historical places, not just in Israel, but maybe Turkey, because in the New Testament, Paul, one of the apostles, he was from Tarsus. That's sort of it was in the early Roman Empire, but it was sort of, the countries were different then. Andalusia, I believe the name of the country was then, but it's Turkey, where he was from. There were churches that were established during the first century. So maybe you want to visit there, or maybe you want to visit Petra. There are all these different places, Jordan, even Ethiopia, because Ethiopia was actually an early Christian church was established in Ethiopia. So if those of you who Bible scholars out there remember Solomon, so King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, this woman came to meet this wise king, and she stayed with him for a number of years, and then she went back to her land, and she took Judaism with them. So when Christ was walking the earth, and after he was crucified, people came from all over to go to these Jewish festivals. So when they went to these Jewish festivals, is the time that they met the disciples and the apostles. So they took Christianity back to Africa. A lot of people don't realize that Christianity was in Africa well before it was ever in Europe, but it all started in Jerusalem. So maybe, if you are into exploring your Christian faith, or maybe your Jewish faith, there are people who are Hindus, and they may want to go to India. They want to go to different places to explore their own faith. So travel can actually serve as an extension of one's faith journey. Now, what's most important, that I think one of the most important things, is connecting with local culture. So I know that, we sort of see all of these commercialized things, these commercialized advertisements, and these cookie cutter sort of ads, and these ideas of going to visit a place, and then you just go there and you come back, but you don't really interact with the local culture. So after the pandemic, in my mind, I'm like, really, I want to go and interact with the people, because tourism is something, just like I live in the Charleston, South Carolina area. Tourism is very important to Charlestonians, people in this area. That's how people make money. So even when I went to visit France a few years ago during the pandemic, yeah, I traveled during the pandemic, it was hard for the locals. We only see Paris on TV and places that are popular, but all throughout the country, there are locals who depend on tourism. So getting to connect with the local culture, and safari is something that's interesting, but from a perspective of connecting with the people instead of just a bunch of animals, because it's more than just a bunch of animals when you go to visit an African country and you go on safari. Safari is actually the livelihood of the people, as well as the tourism. So you want to be able to connect. And I talked about heritage travel, already. So number 6, how about balancing exploration and reflection, right? So that's active travel versus your reflective time. So yeah, I mentioned that before, we may want to slow down a little bit after raising our families, but then again, there may be some active element like bike riding, or taking a bike tour in Europe or someplace like that, or maybe going to explore rafting, or doing rafting. I was getting ready to say white river rafting, but in South Africa, you can go rafting. Or maybe you're a nature enthusiast, whether that's safari or bird watching or some other kind of activity. Or like I said, golfing, or maybe like next year, the Olympics is going to be in Paris. Maybe you want to go to Paris to see the Olympics. Now, versus your reflective time, you can still build in some slow down a little bit so that you can actually have time to reflect. And so actually I mentioned safari. That's an excellent type of travel because there's no TV. So you're like out traveling the area, going from national park to national park to see these animals, right? But you're traveling with the local people, you're interacting with the culture, you stop and you meet some local Maasai, but you have more time to reflect because there's absolutely no TV. You come back to a tent, whether it's like a glamorous tent, some are more glamorous than others. Maybe the younger crowd, not me, will sleep in a tent that's on the ground or in the back of a truck. That's just not the kind of travel that I do. The younger crew will do that. But for the most part, these tents are pretty luxurious. All the comforts of home are in these tents. You wouldn't realize you're in a tent. So balancing that exploration, that drive for adventure, and being able to reflect. It's just so important, and it's an important part of being intentional in your travels because you also want to consider your health profile. What am I actually realistically able to do? What's going to be easier or more comfortable for me? So these are things that you want to consider to have an enjoyable trip. And last but not least, there's also aligning your business goals with travel. So getting away from it all is another way of unwinding, especially if you go overseas somewhere, not just the Caribbean, where you're getting across the Atlantic Ocean or across the Pacific Ocean somewhere where you're not going to be connected to your computer or your phone. Because I remember when my kids were growing up, we used to go to Orlando. I used to take my phone and my laptop with me. So you get out of and away from all of the electronics and the distractions, and you actually get a chance to unwind and think and be able to be more creative when you get that break. There's also another type of travel where people actually travel for work. They're able to travel remotely. So they travel to, let's say, the Maldives somewhere, and they take their laptops because they're remote workers. So these are all kinds of ways that you can align your business goals with traveling. So we're more connected now. So those are the pros and cons, things that you have to think about and you have to weigh. So what I do, I'm just going to tell you what I do because that's all I really had left, is I help you live the dream through travel. And Cilla Travel is a boutique travel agency, and I offer premium planning and advisory services specifically for empty nesters and people in their second act of their lives. So people, who, their children are grown or almost grown, but they don't in a position, but these days the kids still live with you, but you don't have to worry about the kids. So you can think about yourself and not have that additional bill, if you know what I mean. So I also help the curious travelers get the most out of the vacations by getting to explore more and connect with the local culture where they visit. So that's really what I had to talk about today, but here's how you can contact me. My website, which is www.cillatravel.com. This is my email, agent@cillatravel.com, and I am on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And I'm Cilla Travel. That's how you can find me. Now I'm going to put in the link here. I have a bonus, and it is a Paris travel guide because that is the latest, greatest trip that I'm planning, which is a river cruise with special emphasis on Black heritage and history. And so Paris is right up front and center. So I'm going to put a link to the guide, and there's a bonus video as well on why Americans love Paris. So if no one else has any questions, then I'll turn it back over to Sabrina. Okay.
All right. We're doing it. We're doing it. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, what happened? Okay, we are rocking and rolling. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love it. The fact of experiences, not just the run of the mill, we're going to go to Orlando and get on some rides, but something that we can really create those long-lasting memories, saying, "Ooh, this was a this was a vacation to remember, And I like the part where he was like disconnecting so that you can reconnect with yourself and being intentional about your travel. I love it. Definitely love it. Okay, and thank you so much for your wonderful gift that you provided us with. I love it. All
You're
right.
welcome.
Are there any key takeaways? Anyone, okay, so anyone who's online, India, Joanna, Carolyn, Kelly, Nicole, I think it's Dr. King, Crystal, any key takeaways you wanted to share? You can come off mute. Yeah.
Hey there. Listen, I'm all about experiences when I take a vacation. I can't just take a vacation. Now, I do believe in relaxation when I do go somewhere, but it has to be about the experience. I really like what was brought out about is that when you plan a vacation, don't plan to go and you just got to do. Plan the experience. What is it you're really looking for when you plan to go? So I'm booked my first ever cruise by myself. Now I've been on several, but this is my first time going by myself. And I'm going to experience Miami for a day because I've not been there to their beaches or anything. And I'm going to go to a simple cruise to Haiti and back. And it's just me because I always go with friends, I always go with family, and I always feel like it has to be a little bit so structured. This time it's kind of like, I'm going to go experience Haiti. I'm going to experience Miami and just make it for myself. So I love the whole symposium, and it, really resonate with me because I think it's so important for self-care that we plan vacations around what type of experience we want to have. So that next big one, don't know when, but I do want that African experience. I do.
Well,
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, I do African experiences. So I actually have one of my clients, she's on here. She's going on the river cruise and giving another shout out to Joanne. She's going to be the ride or die because she's a avid traveler. She's like me. She'll go by herself if she has to.
That's right.
I love that. I love it. I love it.
May I say something to that point? And you should go by yourself because I find that by traveling solo, I'm by myself, but I'm really not by myself because it causes me to really be immersive in the culture. And my travel is intentional. Anytime I go someplace, I've been to all 7 continents. So my travel is very intentional. And I can't wait until my river cruise with Priscilla in June. I'm going to learn French, Priscilla, just so you'll know. And just don't wait. Do it. I admire the woman who said she's going to Miami and then to Haiti by herself. Do it. We're in that second part, that second half of our lives, at least I am. And I'm traveling. I'm just traveling and enjoying my life and enjoying these experiences. So don't wait for anyone, just do it.
Thank you so much, Joanne. I can't wait either. I'm learning French too and Swahili.
French and Swahili. Wow. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's see here. Okay. Now, let's get into how you can thrive at the top. One part is, yes, definitely having those experiences as you travel. How CEOs master the art of self-care for peak performance. And let me just make an adjustment if I can. Can I make an adjustment? Okay, there we go. So let's ask you this question. How many of you have found yourself constantly putting your business before your well-being? If you are a solopreneur, you are here and you have been putting your business before your well-being, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. Okay, let me check the chat over here. Okay, and how many of you have found yourself constantly putting your business before your well-being, or have you experienced burnout or extreme stress on your journey as an entrepreneur? Put a 2 in the chat if that's ever been you. And put a 3 in the chat if you wish that you had more time for that relaxation and that experience of travel and that self-reflection that Priscilla mentioned. If you want more of that, put a 3 in the chat, Okay. So I definitely get it. I see some 3s in there. I see some 2s in there. I definitely get it. I've been there. I've done that. I've had the t-shirt. But wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be amazing if you could put your well-being on par with your business, putting your business first, not putting your business first, putting yourself first, creating your business around your lifestyle so that you're not only successful in your business, but you're successful in your life. You're fulfilled in your life. You're on purpose. You're on task. You are intentional. You are living your purpose, the purpose that God has for you. Wouldn't it be wonderful? And, would it also be wonderful if you could prevent some of the burnout and the chronic stress, and so that you could have more well-being and you could be at your best at all times? Wouldn't that be great? Put a 5 in the chat if that is you. And wouldn't it be amazing if you could just set these clear and effective boundaries around your time so that your yes is yes, your no is no, work is work, and life is life, and you can have the precious time that you deserve and that you desire to reflect, to be just to take care of yourself. You work hard. Put a 6 in the chat if that is you. And a yes, I see. Yes. So I like to be like, you remember Whitley? She said, relax, relate, release. It's time in your life and in your business to relax and to relate and to release all of the pressure, release all of the stress. And in the moments that I have for you, we're going to take a high level on how you can thrive as a CEO in your solo business and use radical self-care as the path to get you to your purpose, to get you to your productivity, to get you to the profitability in your business and in your life. Because what I know is that God has given each and every one of us the power to get wealth so that we can be able to establish his kingdom on the earth. But we can only establish his kingdom if our vessels are cared for. We have one body, we have one mind, we have one spirit. So we have to cultivate and care for that which he has given us. So how many of you are ready to learn and to listen and to just explore about how you can thrive as a CEO? But before we get into that, I want to share a little bit about myself. If you're new to me, I'm Sabrina L. Taylor. I'm the creator of Savvy Solopreneur Symposium. I'm also the CEO of Impact Life Enterprises, and I'm dedicated to helping high-performing, faith-filled women of faith, women who are in service-based businesses, to break through internal limitations so that you can create the freedom lifestyle, so that you can live your purpose, so that you can increase your productivity and build the profits that you desire in your business and in your life. I believe that you can seize and live those God-sized dreams. And I also believe, according to Ephesians 2:10, that you are God's masterpiece. He's already created you for greatness. He's already created you for success. He's already created you to just be the crown CEO in your business. And I see every client that I work with, every woman that I work with as the masterpiece. You've been crowned with potential. And we want that potential to be fully expressed. And how are you crowned? I love the scripture. You may want to write it down so you can meditate upon it. As solopreneurs, we have so many things that we are juggling, and one of them may be financials, things of that, different challenges and trials but Psalm 65:11 says, you crown the year with your bounty, and even the hard places he will cause for you to have success. He will cause to overflow with abundance. If you are wanting that in your business, if you're receiving that in your business right now, let me get an amen in the chat. Let's get an amen in the chat. But before you can wear the crown of bounty, the crown of abundance, we must keep first things first, and that's caring for what God gave you. So let's talk about the daily demands of entrepreneurship as solos. There's a vast amount of things that we're doing. There's operations, there's marketing, there's sales, there's client fulfillment, there's going for the goal, being the face of your business, planning, organization, doing all those things, taking care of your finances, making sure that they're in alignment, making sure that your numbers are right. These are all the roles and functions that you fill. And if you happen to be a solopreneur who is trying to do everything, every little thing on your own, then the struggle is real. And you can see the struggle right here on my lady right here. People are at her, all around her, with their demands on her time. And let's not forget to mention that as we're not just business owners, but we have a personal life as well. And there are personal responsibilities that we love and that we enjoy, but they're still taking up time. So we fill our time as daughters, as wives, as mothers, as caregivers, as ministry leaders, as friends. The list goes on and on and on. And by nature, we are women who are have servant hearts. We want to give. And sometimes, hey, put something in the chat. Put your best emoji in the chat if you know sometimes we're just giving not out of our abundance, but we're just giving out of sometimes lack. And we don't want to do that. We have to first put on the mask for ourselves. We have to put on the girdle of truth for ourselves. We got to put on the helmet of salvation for ourselves before we try to put it on for someone else. And so if your services to someone else is competing with your ability to serve yourself first, then you cannot serve others at a higher level. So let's be frank. If you are a solopreneur, I know that you write lots of to-do lists. Now, I want you to take a look at your to-do list, whether it be on your phone or your iPad or on your notebook. Let me see, how many of you have yourself as first on your list? Let's see, anybody have their self on first on your list? I don't see anything. I don't see anything. Okay, so is everybody getting a piece of you before you get a piece of you together, before you get your personal piece together? Self-care, or the lack thereof, can either make or break your business, okay? It is a difference between you showing up for yourself, showing up for your business, or showing up for your life, or not showing up for your life. Okay, Priscilla said, it is now. So what's happening? What's happening with us as solopreneurs? These are some of the lies that we tell ourselves. Okay, if you are like me, you want to get it. I got things on my to-do list I have to get done, right? So maybe I'm not the first on my list because I'm too busy. I'm too busy for self-care. I don't have time. It's going to slow me down. Or perhaps you are in the hustle and grind culture and you're like, I got to get it. If I don't get it, then how it's going to get got? Okay. And you're working yourself because you believe that this is the only way that you can get the positive results that you want, that you desire. Wow. Or maybe it's a mindset that you're saying, okay, this is just how the way things are. I'm just going to put my business first before I put myself first. And there is some kind of misalignment with your priorities because you're neglecting yourself. Right? There may even be a fear that you're falling behind. You're just like, okay, if I don't get this done right now, if I don't give it all, if I don't stay up late, if I don't do this thing right now, then, I'm going to fall behind and my competition is going to be, they're going to surpass me. But can I challenge your thinking tonight to say that in order for you to speed up, you have to slow down. And I'm going to tell you how I know. Okay. In my first business, I am a former attorney, retired attorney. I had my own solo business as an attorney. I helped women with their domestic violence situations. And I did this and I did this and I did it without help. I thought I had to do everything myself. And I kept burning the midnight oil, doing everything myself, everything. I didn't take time for myself. And let me tell you, where did it land me? It landed me in the ICU. Can you say ICU? ICU. I saw myself in the ICU because I didn't take care of myself. And what I didn't do, I didn't listen to the warning signs that my body was telling me. So the challenge is this. Are you burning out? Are you noticing that you're burning out? Are you stressing out? Are you anxious? Are you filled with anxiety? Do you feel like, or do you even sense that there's maybe some kind of declining in your health? Or perhaps with all of this is said and done, you cannot live your purpose. You cannot be productive. You cannot build profitability in your business because your body can't handle it. Because your mind, your emotions can't handle it. But what happens when we decide to put self-care first? We decide to put ourselves first. Okay, what happens? Well, this doesn't happen. Okay, so if we keep on going the way we're going, if we've been in this rut, we have increased health risks. There's persistent burnout. Yeah, that girl is knocked out on the floor. She can't go any further. Look at her glasses. Her glasses are just askew. But you see her computer is still there. Her hand is still on the phone, but she is knocked out. What about you have mental health challenges or struggles with maybe depression, feeling this aloneness, and there's a reduction in your quality of life and living. We can do nothing when we are sick. We can do nothing when we have just kept on going, spinning our wheels and not taking care of ourselves. So I shared a bit about my story and where I was. Let me tell you, on my entrepreneurial journey, God gave this assignment to me. He opened up the law practice and I went in full steam ahead. He gave me the vision, but you know what I did? I took it on myself. He says to cast all my care upon him, for he cares for me. Well, I put the pressure on myself. And the mistake that I made was that I handled my business like it was mine exclusively. I know God gave me the assignment. I'm a task-oriented person, so I'm going to get to work. And I got to work. I worked in my own strength. I worked everything myself. I worked way too hard, way too long, way too much, for way too little. Did I say work? I said work. And again, I said, as I worked in that work energy, it landed me in the ICU. And I collapsed on the floor, passed out. And the next thing I knew, when I woke up in the ICU, was a bright light shining in my face. And I'm like, okay. And I spent a week in that hospital under the bright lights in that cold room. And I spent that time, $30,000. $30,000 was the bill. I could have had an experience using the tools and the resources that Priscilla Holmes and Cilla Travel had. I could have had at least three good experiences, but no. I spent $30,000, 6 days in the hospital, eating food that I did not like. But what did the result of me trying to be a superwoman, what did that do for me? It didn't work. It's not going to work for you even. So I'm at the point in life is like, I don't want any woman to go through what I went through, okay? I don't want you to work yourself to the bone. I don't want you to think that you can't take time to take care of yourself. I don't want you to think that when you get into business, God gave it, he put it into your hands, that you have to do it yourself. I want you to know that there is help, there is hope, and there is a pathway to doing it. So let's talk about the importance of self-care. Yes, you are the driving force of your business. Yes, you have a vision, you have a purpose. Yes, you have the determination to succeed, but you also have a responsibility to care for this, to care for this, to care for all of this. And as a solopreneur, as a CEO, it directly impacts your business. If you don't take care of your body, you have no business. So what are some of the benefits of self-care? I want some people in the chat to share. What are some benefits of self-care that you have experienced as you have navigated your life? What are some of those things? You can put it in the chat. You can share it with me. Okay. Yep. You live longer. Longevity. Feeling great. Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Priscilla. Feeling great. Living longer. Mental health positivity. Yes. I mean, when you're running on E, how can you be positive? Okay. Youthful appearance. Okay. I like that, India. Youthful appearance. Yes. You've seen people who are stressed and strained, and it's all in their face. The wrinkles up in here because they're so stressed. Thank you so much for sharing those for us. So what I want you, beautiful, magnificent women of faith, women in business, what I want you to do is start putting yourself on the first line of your to-do list to prioritize your well-being. I'm not going to tell you how to do it because all of us are different. Just like everybody would like to have a different experience with their travel, you also want to have a different experience with you as you prioritize your well-being and your health. Nobody knows how you can do it like you can do it. But for me, it might look like, a walk in the neighborhood. It may look like taking some time away for a staycation just to release myself from the chains of this phone. It may be spending quality time with those that I love, disconnected from everything else, but really truly looking into their eyes, really feeling them, truly feeling them, authentically feeling them in the place that they are. It may be me taking that opportunity, just like India is taking, and like Carolyn is taking. Not Carolyn, is it Carolyn? Let me see. Is the other young lady who's going to Paris, I think.
That's Joanne.
Joanne. Okay, Joanne, taking that solo experience just to reconnect with yourself, reconnect with who God made you, reconnect and get recharged and refreshed and renewed so that you can come back to your business with more ideas, more energy, more passion, definitely on purpose, more vision. That's what happens when we prioritize our well-being. So we can experience the improved health, improved productivity, better decision-making. We can experience and enhance our work-life harmony. We can reduce our burnout. We can have stronger relationships. We can be more creative. All of these things happen when we prioritize our well-being. And yes, I'm getting back to this. Schedule yourself as number one. Okay, I'm going to be like a teacher right now. I'm going to ask you right now, if you are not number one on your list for tomorrow or for this evening or whatever, if you are not number one, I want you to take out your handy dandy notebook, your handy dandy phone, take it out and put Priscilla, put Sabrina, put India, put Joanne, put Crystal here. What are you going to do for you to fill you up before you start giving out to your family or even to your business? Schedule yourself in. You are a priority. Put yourself first as a priority. The next assignment I'm going to give you is to identify what are your non-negotiables. What are some things that you are not going to put up with, that you're not going to, identify your non-negotiables. What are you going to do? And what is it that you're not going to allow to stop you from putting yourself as a priority? So for me, that priority is in the morning. We're going to have prayer. We're going to have devotional. I'm going to read my scripture. I'm going to write in my journal. What is it? I'm going to go get me. Okay. Priscilla's going to go get her a pumpkin spice latte. All right. Like I said, everybody's path to self-care is different. What is it that you're going to do for yourself, right? Set aside that time for your prayer, for Bible, for good books that support you personally, professionally, spiritually. Exercise, move your body. Some people like to dance around the house. Some people like to run in the house. Some people, but engaging with new hobbies and things of that nature, identify what is your non-negotiable. What are you going to do? Number 3, if you haven't created your Savvy Solo self-care routine, I'm going to invite you to do so. Where is my, well, I have several journals, but get into a rhythm and a routine of how you can, take care of yourself. When are you going to, how many hours are you going to have for sleep? How many times are you going to be able to practice being present with yourself and with those whom you love? When are you going to make those eating nutritious meals for yourself? And you know what is really gold is taking those breaks during the day. How many of you work at home? You work from home, from the comfort of your home. I work from the comfort of my home. And, sometimes if you're not disciplined, which we're working on the discipline, you can just keep working. From the time that you open your eyes to the time that you go to sleep, you're working. What I've found to be great is that you will take a time to say, these are my work hours. These are my breaks. I'm taking a break at this time. I'm taking a break at that time, and making it non-negotiable. Yes, it doesn't turn off. We have to turn ourselves off, right? Turn it off so that we can turn on the growth. We can only grow when we rest, right? We can only grow when we're taking time to break, rest, reflect, recharge, renew ourselves. And in fact, even in the beginning, God, he worked how many days? And then on the 7th day, he rested. I don't care what day it is that you rest, but you need a day of rest. So get that into your self-care routine. And here we go. Ooh, this word begins with a B, and lots of people don't like to hear it. It's called boundaries. So maybe people in your life may not like to hear you state clearly, communicate, and communicate clearly, concisely, and non-negotiably, if that's a word, I'm making it up today, to set those loving boundaries and stick to them. Boundaries. They are your best ally in your business for your self-care. Take care of you, state your boundaries clearly, concisely, and with conviction. This is how we work. This is how we can work together. This is what I'm not going to do. My time for my family is my time for my family. Don't call me during my family time. So it may be something as simple as that, but stating your boundaries lovingly and not listening to the stories that people may tell you that will cause you maybe to waver on what your boundaries are. Your boundaries are your boundaries. Stick to them. Okay, so I am going to stop there because I've gone on quite a lot. I can go for a long time on this because self-care is so very important for us. And if any of this that I shared resonate with you, I encourage you to schedule a connection call with me, Crown CEO Discovery Call, where we can look at your life. Look at, are you wearing the crown in your life? Are you clarified on that vision that God has for you? Are you refining your mindset? Are you taking the time for yourself? Are you owning your magnificence? Are you setting those boundaries for yourself? How are you doing business? Is business overtaking you? Or are you taking business over? All right. So callwithsabrina.com is it. And let's bring this stop to share. Actually, I have one more. We have Q&A. Okay, well, we will stop the share. And I will, yeah, there we go. Stopping the share. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have questions, comments, insights, we are here for you. Okay, Priscilla, you can unmute yourself.
Oh, well, that was definitely interesting. So that's actually the first time I've actually sat through your entire presentation. Because usually when you were doing the lives, it was like during working hours. So it's hard to switch my brain. So that's another thing. You have to disconnect. But that was really interesting. So yeah, especially women, we tend to take on like everything. Like we're the wife, we're the mom, then we've got our business, we got to do so good, then you've got your parents, extended family members you have to take care of, and you don't notice until after you start to burn out that you're actually suffering. So yeah, so taking a break and getting completely away, like going across the Atlantic Ocean could help.
Yes. I think one of the greatest times that my husband and I had away was when we were on a cruise and we did not buy the package where we'd be connected to the land. So we could
Oh, okay.
truly see.
Yep. So
in their
ocean
face.
cruising is it's a niche. So, well, it's something, it's very common, but people get on these ships because they can get away. And plus that it's expensive on those ocean liners. Now the internet is expensive on those. Now river cruising, not so much because it comes with the package. So I am a river cruise advocate because I get to have an adventure and everything's included. And it's a slow travel. You unpack once and you visit multiple cities in this one trip. All you do is you wake up in the morning, you go to breakfast, the cruise director talks about what you're going to do that day. You get on the bus and go to your tour, and they bring you back for lunch. Or for the active traveler, they bike. They actually bike. So there's just so many options that we can just, if you like that kind of thing, then there's like wine tours. I mean, there's a whole culture around wine cruises because you actually go to vineyards and castles and monasteries and observe how they actually made it from centuries ago. So it's disengaging from the everyday and just engaging in a different way. Your mind is engaged. So, and it's just fun. It's just fun.
I think one of the things, I love it. I definitely love it. I love it. It was great having you play with me today. I enjoyed having you. I always enjoy you.
Thank you.
Having conversations with you, just offline and online. I think you are super wonderful woman of God and entrepreneur, solopreneur, and I'm blessed to be in your presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that compliment, Sabrina. Soon I'll just be a solopreneur and hopefully not solo for much longer, but yeah, but
Making that transition.
oh yes.
Definitely. So anyone have any questions or comments or insight? I'm looking over here on my chat. Okay, so he needed to head out. Thanks for the information. Okay. Well, like they said in the church, if all hearts and minds are clear. Well, I want to thank Carolyn, Delphine, Nicole, I think it's Dr. King, India, Crystal, let's see, who is it? Crystal with a K. I definitely, who else is it? Carolyn from Maryland. We had Joanne on. All of you wonderful solopreneurs, thank you. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. If I can be of service to you along your journey as a solopreneur, please let me know. Do not, you can connect with me at Call with Sabrina. We can chat on there, Call with Sabrina. And if you also like to play with me on Savvy Solopreneur Symposium, I'm looking to fill these months that are coming up for 2024 to share what you have. So hey, connect with me at callwithsabrina.com. And as always, I'm definitely celebrating your magnificence and all the wonderful things that God has called you to do. I want you to be reminded, according to Ephesians 2:10, that you have been created a masterpiece, a divine masterpiece. And when you know that, when you walk in that, when you can just receive by faith that that's who you are, you can walk even more powerfully in what the assignment that God has given you. So go out today, go out this evening, go out this morning, whenever you're listening to this, go out and know that you are the masterpiece and be that crown CEO, where even in the midst of any kind of, any kind of a discouragement, hard times, knowing that you're going to land on your feet, you are on top. So I love you and I'm leaving you with that. Thank you again. God bless you. And we'll see you in the next Savvy Solopreneur Symposium.
Thank you. Great information, ladies. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Let me.